A dedicated college athlete, betrayed by the very institution she trusted, walks away from the sport she loves. But instead of letting the system defeat her, she completely rewrites the rules, forging a $125 million digital media empire. Welcome to Learning English with Rassa. Okay, let's dive right into this incredible explainer of Alexandra Cooper's life. We're starting in the quiet suburban town of Newtown, Pennsylvania. Alex grew up in a household where sports and competition were just, a way of life. Her dad was a television sports producer and her mom was a psychologist. So this really fascinating combination of athletics and understanding human behavior shaped her right from the start. She was a naturally gifted athlete who poured absolutely all of her energy into soccer. And all that intense hard work finally paid off when she earned a spot as a Division I midfielder at Boston University in 2013. For a young athlete, this is it. It's the ultimate dream, playing at the absolute highest collegiate level. But, well, the reality inside the locker room was far from a dream. According to a recent documentary about her life, the environment became deeply uncomfortable and really toxic. She alleged that her coach, Nancy Feldman, subjected her to persistent sexual harassment over 3 long years. The coach reportedly fixated on Alex's body and her private dating life, constantly crossing professional boundaries. In one highly inappropriate encounter, the coach allegedly placed a hand on her thigh. For a young woman far from home, this completely shattered her sense of safety. Yet, despite this paralyzing fear, Alex decided she just had to speak up. So, the crucial turning point in her college career happened during her junior year. She gathered all of her courage and reported these serious violations to the university's athletic administration. She expected protection, right? Instead, she faced cold, institutional indifference. Her own words capture the devastation perfectly. She said, "Within 5 minutes, they had entirely dismissed everything I'd been through. The administration made it abundantly clear they were not going to investigate or fire the coach." This ultimate betrayal was a massive shock, but it actually became the inciting incident of her entire life. It sparked this fierce, burning drive inside her to never rely on a corporate system again and to demand total independence. Because she was so resilient, Alex didn't just quietly accept the situation. She made the heartbreaking but necessary decision to quit the soccer team right before her senior year. She walked away from the very sport she had dedicated her entire life to. But instead of giving up, she made a deliberate transition into studying film and television at the university. She quickly realized that if powerful institutions wouldn't protect her story, well, she needed to learn exactly how to produce and control her own narrative. This shift from athletics to digital media was the vital first step toward building her future empire. After college, she packed her bags and moved to New York City. In 2018, she co-created the Call Her Daddy podcast. It was raw, it was honest, and it talked completely openly about relationships and sex. And it exploded in popularity instantly. Within just a month, the massive sports and pop culture blog Barstool Sports acquired the show. Downloads absolutely skyrocketed from 12,000 to 2 million in just 2 months. But wild success inevitably brought conflict. A massive public dispute over pay and ownership occurred. Alex realized she had to assert her rights. She had to persist through a highly public, intense legal and business battle to secure 100% ownership of her show's intellectual property. She fought, she won, and she kept the podcast. In 2021, holding the full rights to her massive audience, she signed an exclusive 3-year deal with Spotify for a highly lucrative $60 million. This completely changed the podcasting industry literally overnight. Making $20 million a year made her Spotify's highest-earning female podcaster, sitting globally only behind Joe Rogan. It was a monumental, undeniable victory for a young creator who just a few years earlier was completely ignored and silenced by her university. But Alex didn't just relax after getting paid. She knew the show had to evolve if it was going to survive. She launched a groundbreaking new format, shifting away from just raunchy comedy into deep, sophisticated celebrity interviews. She brought on massive A-list guests like John Legend, Gwyneth Paltrow, and even major political figures. Her interviewing style was so sharp and effective that Rolling Stone magazine officially named her the Gen Z Barbara Walters. She proved to the entire world she was a multi-dimensional talent who can handle highly complex cultural conversations. By 2024, her Spotify contract was up, and her inherent value had only grown. She had proven her show was the second most popular podcast on the planet. So she signed an even bigger distribution and advertising deal, this time with SiriusXM. $125 million over 3 years. Let that sink in for a second. She had completely rewritten the rules of creator compensation, proving that an independent female podcaster could command traditional, broadcast-level television money. Her evolution didn't stop there either. She transformed from a popular podcast host into a true corporate CEO. Alongside her husband, film producer Matt Kaplan, she co-founded a powerful media company called Trending. Under that main umbrella, they created a subsidiary called the Unwell Network, specifically to sign other emerging Gen Z podcasters. But they kept going. They launched a massive advertising and creative agency working directly with tech giants like Google. They even partnered with Nestle to launch Unwell Hydration, a new beverage specifically designed for women's wellness, selling in major retailers like Target. She built a complete, self-sustaining media ecosystem. Amidst all this massive corporate success, her personal life really blossomed. In April 2024, she married Matt Kaplan in a beautiful, intimate beachside wedding in Mexico. But through all the glamour, she never lost the connection with her audience. When she announced her pregnancy in 2026, she didn't just share the perfect, curated moments. She remained fiercely authentic, sharing a deeply vulnerable update on TikTok about being diagnosed with gestational diabetes. She admitted she almost cried and felt isolated, showing her millions of fans that despite the vast wealth in the empire, she is still navigating the very real, frightening challenges of life right alongside them. Now that we've heard Alex's incredible journey, let's slow down a bit and examine the language that built this story. Our first essential word is dismiss. The pronunciation is dismiss. It is a verb that means to decide that something or someone is not important and not worth considering. It comes from the Latin dismissus, meaning to send away. When you are looking for synonyms, think of words like reject or disregard. It carries a heavy, isolating feeling of being completely ignored. In the context of our story, the university administration decided to dismiss her serious allegations after only 5 minutes. When you hear this sentence, notice the feeling of cold, rapid rejection. It's not just that they disagreed, they completely erased her painful truth as if it didn't even exist. Now, moving into our own daily lives, you should never dismiss someone's feelings when they are asking for help. This is a really powerful rule for relationships. It means you must not ignore or minimize their emotions, even if you don't fully understand them yourself. And in a business context, early critics tried to dismiss her podcast as just a silly comedy show. They completely underestimated her, choosing not to take her serious potential into account. Our second word is crucial for any success story: persist. Pronounced persist. It is a verb meaning to continue doing something in a determined way, even when you are facing severe difficulties or opposition. It originates from the Latin persistere, which literally means to stand firm. Good synonyms to remember are endure or carry on. This word is all about inner strength and absolutely refusing to quit when things get tough. Looking back at Alex, despite the harassment, she decided to persist and speak out to the athletic department. This really highlights her immense bravery in pushing forward through fear and institutional pressure. As a general truth for all of us learning English or building a life, if you persist in your career goals, you will eventually find success. This means showing up every single day, even when progress feels slow. And later in her life, she had to persist through a difficult legal battle to win back her podcast. Here, it describes surviving a long, exhausting corporate fight without ever surrendering her rights. Next up is transition, pronounced transition. Notice that this can act as both a verb and a noun. It means to change from one state, form, style, or place to another. The etymology is from the Latin transitio, meaning a going across. If you need a synonym, change or shift works perfectly. A transition is rarely instant. It usually implies a thoughtful process of changing over a period of time. For example, she made a smooth transition from college athlete to a New York media professional. This uses it as a noun, describing her major life change as a complete phase she moved through. The show itself also evolved. The podcast had to transition into an interview format after her co-host left. Here, it functions as an active verb, showing how the production shifted its style to adapt to new circumstances. For your own life, making a career transition can be scary but highly rewarding. Again, as a noun, this is extremely useful vocabulary for talking about changing your own professional path. Let's move to a fantastic business word: lucrative. Pronounced lucrative. It is an adjective that simply means producing a large amount of money or making a large profit. It comes from the Latin lucrativus, which is directly related to gain or wealth. The best synonyms are profitable or financially rewarding. You use this word when a business decision or career choice pays off incredibly well. Alex signed a highly lucrative deal with Spotify that changed her life. This perfectly and succinctly describes her massive $60 million contract. It wasn't just a good deal, it was life-changing money. We can also see this when the new beverage line proved to be a very lucrative business venture. This tells us that selling the hydration drink generated significant, tangible profit for her company. Broadly speaking, podcasting has become a lucrative career for successful digital creators. This sentence generalizes the word, showing that this specific modern industry can generate a tremendous amount of wealth. Our fifth word is absolutely essential corporate vocabulary: subsidiary. Pronounced subsidiary. It is a noun describing a smaller company that is completely controlled or owned by another larger parent company. From the Latin subsidiarius, meaning serving to assist or serving as a reserve. Synonyms include branch or division. It's the primary way massive corporate empires organize their different businesses. To see this in action, think of how the Unwell network operates as a subsidiary of her main media company, Trending. This clearly maps out her business structure. Trending is the large parent, and Unwell is the focused child company. In the wider tech world, Google owns many smaller subsidiary companies around the world. This is a very common real-world example of how massive international giants operate across different markets. Finally, creating a new subsidiary allowed her to sign emerging Gen Z influencers. This shows the strategic, structural reason for opening a brand new branch of a business. Moving to our sixth word, assert. Pronounced assert, it is a verb meaning to state a fact, a belief, or your personal rights confidently and forcefully. It originates from the Latin assere, meaning to claim or maintain. Synonyms are declare or insist. This word is all about finding your voice, planting your feet, and absolutely not backing down. In her business battle, she had to assert her rights to maintain ownership of her intellectual property. This means she stood up and legally, forcefully demanded what was rightfully hers. For your own daily life, it is important to assert yourself in business meetings to be heard. This is a great piece of advice for language learners. Speak up confidently in professional settings, even if it feels intimidating. Furthermore, Alex used her platform to assert that women deserve equal pay in media. Here, she is forcefully stating a profound moral and professional belief to the general public. Word number 7 is a very exciting descriptive term: groundbreaking. Pronounced groundbreaking. It is an adjective that describes something highly innovative, pioneering, and discovering completely new methods or results. It's a compound of ground and breaking, like literally taking a shovel and breaking the hard earth to build a foundation for something entirely new. Excellent synonyms include revolutionary or unprecedented. Her groundbreaking contract paved the way for other female creators to demand more money. It was revolutionary because it set a brand new standard and shifted the paradigm for the whole industry. Furthermore, the technology used by her new creative agency is truly groundbreaking, meaning the tools they are using simply did not exist before. They are entirely new and innovative. Finally, she launched a groundbreaking format that changed how people listen to interviews. This perfectly describes how her bold shift in content style was completely original. Our 8th word is the absolute currency of the modern internet: authentic. Pronounced authentic. It is an adjective that means real, true, and accurate. It is not copied, and it is definitely not fake. It traces back to the Greek authentikos, meaning original or primary. Synonyms are genuine or simply real. To be authentic means you do not hide your true self behind a filter. We see this when fans love Alex because she is always authentic about her personal struggles. She doesn't pretend to be perfect. She is genuinely and comfortably herself, flaws and all. More broadly, building an authentic connection with your audience is the key to longevity. This means a real, honest, trust-based relationship is what keeps a business alive for decades, not just a few days. And in her personal life, she refused to hide her diagnosis, choosing to be authentic on social media. She actively chose human truth over a fake, perfectly curated image. Word 9 is deeply emotional, vulnerable. Pronounced vulnerable. It is an adjective meaning exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed. While it can mean physical harm, in modern conversational English, we almost always use it emotionally, meaning you lower your protective defenses and show your true feelings, even if you know someone might judge you. It comes from the Latin vulnerabilius. Synonyms are defenseless or exposed. Sharing her gestational diabetes diagnosis was a deeply vulnerable moment. By doing this, she opened up about her fear and sadness, risking intense public judgment to help others. Similarly, you must be vulnerable with your friends to build trust. You have to be willing to show your emotional weaknesses to build real, lasting human bonds. Looking back to the beginning, the athlete felt vulnerable when the administration ignored her urgent plea for help.
Here it means she felt totally emotionally and institutionally unprotected, left completely exposed to harm.
And our final word is beautiful. Resilient, pronounced resilient. It is an adjective, meaning able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. It comes from the Latin resilience, which literally means to leap back or bounce back. Synonyms are tough or strong, but specifically, it is a dynamic strength that allows you to heal and rise up again after a failure or a trauma.
Looking at our final examples, Alex proved she was resilient by building an empire after a terrible college experience. She didn't let the trauma destroy her. She absorbed the impacts and bounced back exponentially stronger. Remember that a successful entrepreneur must be resilient when facing business failures. In any business, you will inevitably fail, and you must have the internal ability to recover and try again. Ultimately, her resilient mindset allowed her to negotiate massive contracts against all odds. Her mental toughness kept her pushing forward when most people would have easily given up.
Excellent job. Now let's see how all these words intricately connect to construct the narrative we just learned. Let's recap. First, dismiss, when the university coldly rejected her painful truth. Next, persist, how she had to carry on fighting Barstool Sports for her intellectual property. Then, transition, her major career-saving shift into conducting deep interviews. Followed by lucrative, that massively profitable $60 million Spotify deal. And subsidiary, creating the Unwell network as a branch under her main company to expand her reach. Continuing our recap, we saw assert, when she confidently and forcefully demanded her financial worth at the negotiating table. Groundbreaking, her revolutionary, unprecedented contracts that changed the entire creator industry. Authentic, the genuine, real personality that built her massive, fiercely loyal fan base. Vulnerable, lowering her emotional defenses to share her frightening pregnancy fears. And finally, resilient, the ultimate summary of her character, bouncing back from deep institutional betrayal to become a global titan. To finish our language lesson today, we are going to look at a highly practical English idiom that perfectly matches the moral of this story: forge your own path. Let's think about the logic here. To forge something means to heat raw metal in a blazing fire and beat it into a completely new shape with a heavy hammer. It takes intense heat, massive effort, and very heavy lifting. So to forge your own path means to create a completely new, independent way of doing things instead of just following the safe, established rules that everyone else blindly follows. This brilliantly illustrates Alex's life. After the university failed her, she decided to forge her own path in digital media. She didn't rely on the broken system. She built a brand new road for herself out of nothing. We can also say, don't just follow what others do. You must forge your own path to find true happiness. Here's my challenge to you today. Take out your notebook and, using the rich vocabulary we've just learned, write a short paragraph about a time in your own life when you had to break the rules, face the heat, and forge your own path. So, the crucial point to take away from this explainer is a question for you. When facing a major setback in your own life, do you wait for the system to fix it, or do you take control and forge your own path? We'd love to hear your thoughts and practice these new words with you, so come join the discussion right now at @FluentMind on Telegram. Keep learning, keep persisting, and I will see you in the next one.